Hello everyone, it is Kathryn Massell, Conscious Creatrix, 5D Visionary, and I am jumping on here to talk about false timelines because it is the subject of my next class in Timelines Expanded Masterclass, which is now open. I'm not going to close the doors on this anymore. You can access this program anytime you like. Whether it's the self-study program where we're teaching it live, it just so happens I am teaching it live right now, and we are on module 4 as of this Thursday. And we're going to be talking about false timelines and how to opt out of them. So this might be a new concept for some of you who are, hey Mike, who are working in the realms of light, like my friend Mike Felt here. You understand that there are all kinds of timelines that we can be accessing at any given time. And, you know, in this polarity and duality that we are exploring here, there's light and there's dark. Can't have one without the other. And so just as we may be working towards, and we definitely are working towards this in Timelines Expanded Masterclass, accessing our highest and best timeline for the highest and good of ourselves, for the highest and good of all, with the least amount of resistance for all involved. That's how we access our highest timelines, and that's what you learn how to do in Timelines Expanded. We can also be accessing false timelines. And the more we get conscious of these unconscious structures, constructs in place, the more we can collapse the False Ascension Matrix. So I'm going to talk about that for a second. So spiritual awakening and expanding consciousness includes the reclaiming of our true history and timelines of being, okay? Not all of that is something that we're consciously aware of right now. We are unconsciously working through some timelines that are not for our highest and best good and not for the highest and best good of humanity. So we have stations of our identity. These are encoded in actually our dormant DNA. Some people would call it junk DNA. It is just dormant. It is sleeping, it is unawakened DNA, okay? So we have stations of our identity, meaning parts of our spiritual awakening process, part of our human journey towards accessing, embodying more of our divinity. So these stations of our identity, they are encoded in our DNA, sleeping in our DNA, but they're ready to be recollected. This is part of the ascension process. And these are intact spiritual bodies of our, let's just say, forgotten selves, obscured by false timelines that are held in the lower frequency hub of the 3D time matrix. This is a great place to install false timelines because many people are unconscious within this bubble, very confined sphere of reality. Hi Nalini, hi Jamie. So they are designed, these energetic bodies, these pure spiritual bodies of our forgotten selves that are obscured by false timelines, they are held in the lower frequency hubs of the 3D time matrix, okay? Because we have different gradients of frequency that we experience in 3D time as we move into 4D time, 5D time. But 3D time and the time space here holds a lot of different hubs or frequencies that exist on a very big spectrum of emotional experience. It really doesn't exist anywhere else in such a unique way as it does in the 3D time-space matrix. So these are energetic bodies, these spiritual bodies of our forgotten selves. They are energetic bodies that hold our intelligence, they hold our mind matrices that are more ascended than where we happen to be functioning right now, which make up our spiritual identity. And they are designed to be recalled and reclaimed during these timeline collapses that are happening as part of moving into the higher energetic of ascension timelines. This is just part of the natural ascension cycle that timelines will collapse if they are no longer energetically resonating with the higher frequency of Mother Earth and thus the higher frequency we are holding as ascended beings. But not everyone is as aware of this ascension cycle. Not everyone is tuned in to what's happening energetically with their frequency wavelengths, with their upgrading vibration or resonance. Not a lot of people are tuned into this. There are a lot of unconscious people in the lower matrices, the lower hubs or frequencies of the 3D time matrix. So those of us who are woke or waking up, nobody's fully woke, by the way, but we are waking up, those of us who have been asleep, and we are figuring out that, we can unhook from these false timelines. There's something more that I'm remembering. As we are upgrading in frequency, we realize there's more that we are remembering. It is because our cellular memory, which has been wiped clean by false timelines that are kind of falling away, is exposing a lot of these true memories, our historical timeline, our true historical organic ascension matrix of humanity. And we are uncovering things that are like, I didn't know this was part of our human identity. I didn't know this was part of my lineage. We are uncovering things on an individual level about our ancestry, about our genealogy, about our DNA. Things are being uncovered. We're in a time of massive amounts of disclosure, meaning a lot of information is coming to light, a lot of stuff that has been hidden, existing in shadow. It's all about disclosure now and going forward. This is a very exciting time for someone like me who geeks out on this big time. So those of us who are waking up, we're kind of in tune with what I'm talking about here. We are starting to recognize these false timelines. And we're able to access more coding as we do that for more of our Christos blueprint, our divine crystalline blueprint, our divine human blueprint of our DNA. And doing this allows us to become more aware of history timelines that have been wiped from our cellular memory. This is very exciting. So this awakens us to more of our sovereignty. It greatly increases our autonomy of choice, meaning to act as the highest and best agent on our own behalf to make God choices. And the God choices, said another way, align us not only with our highest good, but with the highest good of all in mind, and with the least amount of resistance for all involved. Those gals here who are joining me who are in Timeline's Expanded Masterclass, you hear me say this on a constant loop. There's a reason. Because that repetition is what anchors it into the mind matrix. And this is what we need to understand, that we can be making right now better informed God choices, which align us not only with our highest good, but for the highest good of all, and with the least amount of resistance for all involved. This is in alignment with the Organic Ascension Matrix protocols. Okay? Hi Tammy. Hi, beautiful. So when you do this, when you learn how to unhook from false timelines, you experience more serendipity, more synchronicity in your life. Things start to, because the false timelines fall away more, you're no longer divesting or siphoning off, funneling off very powerful energy that is towards the highest and best Ascension Matrix protocol, your highest and best timeline for being that is in alignment with the highest good of all and with the least amount of resistance for all involved. So more serendipity naturally happens. You noticeably increase your psychic abilities, okay? And you activate latent ones. So ones that maybe you've had glimpses of before or thought maybe you could do before in another timeline. Things like lucid dreaming, the ability to remote view, different potentials for ways of being, different timelines, lifetimes. You change your relationship with your past self because you are uncovering more of your historical timeline, the more historical timeline of humanity that's been wiped from your cellular memory due to false timelines being in place. You experience spontaneous occurrences of premonition and retrocognition. Retrocognition is remembering parts of the holographic record of the past with a more accurate account. You become a more deliberate and more passionate sculptor of your reality as you are creating it from the implicate order of the entire field of consciousness, the unmanifest, the undistorted field of pure potential, the pure consciousness of the all that is. This is a very empowering place to be, okay? The next level of your awakening, really, if you are on this ascension timeline, you recognize yourself or identify as someone who is on an ascension timeline, a quest for spiritual evolution, spiritual awakening. The next level then of your awakening is dependent upon what constructs you're no longer available for, like false timelines, like the false ascension matrix. Knowing what it is and knowing how to opt out of it is part of your trajectory in your timeline of pursuing the true organic ascension matrix. This is very, like being in this very limited perception of reality in 3D time and thinking this is all that is. That's your step one of opting into or opting out of these confining constructs of your reality. It was never part of our divine blueprint or our cosmic identity to stay in this level of the 3D time-space matrix. It is only an initiation portal to a higher ascended portal in the ascension journey. This is a very micro-concentrated sphere of reference. It is very limiting. It is very confining because we're in our ego self perceiving the 3D time-space matrix. We also see it as very inflexible, okay? Like there's no wiggle room here. That is false. That is completely false. The ladies who are in, and the gentlemen who are in Timeline's Expanded Masterclass with me are starting to awaken to this reality and play with this in a very tangible and practical way. So, in other words, if you are not, let's just say, deliberately opting out of this confined scope of awareness, all of your moves through the different, let's just say, stations of identity in your ascension journey that you are perceiving as elevated are in fact just lateral. They're just lateral. Because this ascension journey is about opting out of the false constructs that are keeping you in the false ascension matrix. Until you learn how to do that, all of your moves through the stations of awareness in ascension, they're not upgrading, they're not elevating, they are only lateral. That means you're continuing to explore polarity and discordant frequencies, not matching the vibration of the original cosmic matrix for expanding stations of consciousness that will evolve humanity, otherwise known as the true ascension matrix, okay? So our progression through the layers of ascension, it's really directly dependent upon our active participation in unhooking from mass consciousness, evolving past false agendas, seeing why they're there, seeing why they're in place, see how they are sapping our power and our agency from us through the 3D time matrix and artificial timelines. So doing this really is the bridge that creates, or I should say closes the gap between the lower frequency hubs of 3D and even 4D consciousness, where we're kind of languishing in outdated, outmoded paradigms of thought, outmoded paradigms of belief systems, imbalances of power, the illusion of separation. One of the false ascension matrix keys to its success is having this planet be on an Armageddon timeline, where we are believing in the systems of victimhood, which involve pestilence, war, the military-industrial war machine, politics, religion, otherwise, aka those systems known as the power being concentrated to a locus of the few rather than to the masses of the many, okay? This is a false ascension matrix. This is an Armageddon timeline. A lot of us happen to be believing in it and working on the premise of this being our reality. It is not. So if we are not going through this natural progression through these layers of ascension in an organic ascension timeline, we are still working on these outmoded paradigms, outdated structures that are holding consciousness hostage and creating consciousness traps and timeline loops for us, where we keep experiencing the same kind of devastation and chaos over and over again. It's not real unless we are actively participating in that timeline as our reality. A timeline can only exist if we are investing our energy in it as humans. Humans drive the energy of timelines forward. So wherever we are collectively gathering our focus and attention as something that is real, that is the timeline that most of humanity happens to be embodying or pushing forward. Okay? There are other timelines for this planet. Better ones. Much better ones. So we need to opt out of this illusion of separation, this illusion of limitation held in place by a false ascension matrix, and our own beliefs and attitudes that keep that going, that keep that inflexibility of the 3D time space going, okay? There is a silent and often unseen war being waged on our collective consciousness by those who would hold us back from our divine organic blueprint of ascension, okay? There is a false ascension matrix. Believe me, there is. I'm not trying to put you in a place of fear. I'm trying to put you in a place of empowerment. Because I'm not just talking about this. I'm saying, yes, this is a thing, but I want to give you the tools to help you opt out of it. So we're not going into fear here. We are going into empowerment. Okay? There is a false ascension matrix. Just like we have multiple timelines that we are individually investing energy in simultaneously. We're all working off of multiple timelines simultaneously. Just as we are doing that as humans, so is the planet. Because we are so intrinsically tied to Mother Earth. Electromagnetically, we are sharing her resonance, and we are projecting and reflecting our resonance back to Mother Earth and taking hers on over and over again. We share this resonance. We have circadian rhythms. That's how you know we're sharing a resonance with Mother Earth. We are sharing signals in our DNA that say to us basically, hey, Mother Earth, you're home for me. And the DNA of Mother Earth is sharing her signature or signal with us saying, hey, you are home to me too. That's why when we send astronauts into outer space and they go way out of our solar system, they have to have supplements for their DNA because they start to deteriorate by not being connected to Mother Earth, okay? We are of her, she is of us. So just like humans have many timelines that we are operating on or siphoning off our energy into simultaneously, so does Mother Earth. And just like we can choose our highest and best timeline that is the best investment and funding of our energy to drive our reality forward, so Mother Earth has the same. But we are helping her by choosing, let's just say, planetary timelines that are in place due to false agendas, false ascension matrix, the false timelines. We can help collapse some of those things so that we can get humanity on the same page of driving its existence forward in the most favorable way with the least amount of resistance for all involved. This is big stuff. It's, this program, Timelines Expanded, it's not Tinker Toys. Okay, this is not this is not like, oh, this is a fun course, we're going to learn some stuff about time. No, this is big stuff. It's going to completely change your entire relationship and conversation that you are having with reality, with consciousness itself. This is big stuff, and it's time for us to learn it. And there's no one teaching this right now, not in this way, where it's extremely comprehensive but simplified so that you can get it. And where you're getting the tools so that you can say, okay, now I have this information. What do I get to do to change the fabric of time, change the fabric of my relationship with the entirety of consciousness, to change my conversation that I'm having with reality? What tools can I implement? What things can I employ? So I can start embodying this different way of being and be a way shower truly for others to start following suit and doing this too. It's the group collective that's going to change the planetary timeline. So the more people that learn how to do this stuff, the more we drive humanity forward in a favorable way for what? The highest good of all with the least amount of resistance for all involved. Hi, Sarah. So just like we have multiple timelines that we are investing energy in simultaneously, so is the planet. Mother Earth is doing this too. There are planetary timelines that are in contrast to each other, just like you're holding timelines that are running counter or creating contrast to each other. Some of these timelines are great for the planet, but unfortunately the collective, the mass collective, the hive mind of mass consciousness isn't really funding those highest and best timelines at the moment. This can all change. Again, this call is not about fear. This is about empowerment. So some are keeping, and very, very good at keeping, the planet in a shadow body. Those who would be working on these kind of fragmentary timelines that are called distractor or disruptor timelines. There are certain people with certain false agendas who work with false timelines to drive a way of being forth on the planet who are distractors, disruptors. You can probably think of a few right now. Some of them are distracting and disrupting for the good, for driving forth the good timelines in the planet. Some are not. In fact, there are a lot who are not. And this is reinforcing the planet being in a shadow body or a false ascension matrix, resonating at lower frequency hubs of consciousness, creating stagnation in what should otherwise be the evolution of this planet. So this is a petition. This is an invitation. This is me nudging you and saying, to be a truly autonomous thought leader, a free agent of your own thought and belief systems and ways of being, a way shower, is to not only know that we are coming to a long-awaited period of disclosure, like I mentioned in the talk here, disclosure and revelation of more of our true organic history and human timeline of being, but to also help others shift from the perceived illusion of safety through conformity in mass consciousness, belief systems. And then the other nudge is to be in a place where you are empowered with the knowledge to help others remap their destiny and re-encrypt their divine codes of being that are in alignment with the true organic ascension matrix, so that they can come into full alignment with that organic, crystalline, true ascension matrix where all of our timelines of humanity are intact and undistorted. When more people on the planet learn how to opt out of the hive mind of mass consciousness, and especially that hive mind that is driving false timelines forward, the Armageddon timeline forward on this planet, that means that there is an overall frequency shift in the collective agreement that impacts the overall consciousness evolution on the planet. This is our destiny. This is what is in front of us. It may sound big. It only sounds big if you think you're just one person doing it. I'm talking about getting together in this group and doing this. That is why I am on this mission with Timeline's Expanded Masterclass, to teach this material, to share it in a very comprehensive but a very simplified way where I can break it down so you understand it, and give you tools to work with this so you don't have to take what I'm saying just at face value, but rather you have the tools, the practical applications, the technology to play with this stuff, to prove to yourself that this really works, that this is really shifting things on the planet in a positive way that drives humanity forward in the highest and best way for evolution. So this is what we're talking about in False Timelines. This is going to be this is module 4, which takes place on Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. I'm no longer restricting any access to this program. The doors are going to stay open all the time because I finally started listening to my guides, and they were telling me, you think you need to close the doors on this program and collect your energy, and you think you're not going to have enough means for support for everyone in here. Stop operating on that false timeline. So I finally got smart and started listening and saying, okay, I'm going to call in my highest timeline for all my best level of support that I can give to everyone in here, calling forth the best information from my spiritual team to bring you guys such comprehensive information that's not being shared anywhere else with this level of high integrity. These are high-level teachings. This is not something you're going to find anywhere else. This is going to create such a shift in your reality that will resonate and ripple out not only into the collective, but for you individually for years to come and for the rest of your lifetime. That is not an overstatement. And I don't mean to sound like I'm an ego. That's just how big and how powerful this container is. So if this speaks to you, come and get in on this program. There is a payment plan if you want to get in. I'm going to put the link down below. Check out the testimonials that I'm sharing as well. These are testimonials and reviews from people who took the live round the first time around in October of 2019, but who are also in it right now and are just 3 classes in and are blown away by this material because, like I said, you're not going to find it anywhere else. So blessings and love and peace to you all. Thanks for watching. Love and peace. Bye-bye.